Hey guys, hey YouTube, what's up? Let's get into the audio.
Okay, Jason. Hello, YouTube. You guys are our special listeners and watchers that watch our face while we chat.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Jason's
kidding, guys.
having
Chris is
a day today.
throwing a temper tantrum. Chris
No,
is
I'm
trying to be the producer, trying to get me to do things I'm not
That's true.
comfortable with.
That's true.
And I told you no.
A shirtless video would be very popular. I don't know why you won't do it.
Smash that like button if you think this is too much. So, YouTube, thank you guys for subscribing and sharing. We're up to over 400 subscribers, Chris.
Yeah.
A great idea you had to come up with YouTube and put this on YouTube again.
Yes, we all know it was Jason's idea. Thank you.
Chris, do you think we're going to hit the 1,000 mark of subscribers in like the next 6 months?
Next year, I would say possible by 2018. Yeah.
Isn't that pretty impressive?
It is. I never thought I would be a guy that had a YouTube channel with subscribers. So cool stuff. Thanks, guys. Let's get this train rolling.
Hey, everybody. For the last time in a long time, yes, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by my outstanding guy, great guy, man of the people, right in the middle, Chris Schaefer. Chris,
say it ain't so. You're gonna keep yesing us, right? That Jason, there's some things that we do on this show that just don't need to change.
Very, very polarizing. Just getting a lot of yeses about the yes and a lot of no's about the yes. But I want something in return for these yeses. I'm not just going to give them away to the people. Right now, we're at 39 reviews on iTunes, and I want to hit 50, Chris. That's all. I'm not asking for anything crazy here. Yeah. Get me to 50, and I will give you the loudest, hardest, intense yes that you've ever heard 50. In your life. Giving birth kind of yes, okay?
Well, I already did my review. I did my review about a year ago, so I've contributed. Jason,
I think get me to 50, and we'll get back to the yeses. Until then, you're going to get maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
Don't make that sound. That's a weird sound. How do you even do that with your voice? Okay.
Chris, speaking of iTunes reviews, we're going to kick off this Q&A episode with an iTunes review. We're not going to go in order here. We're going to jump out of order because Chris thought this review was so impressive.
I did. I appreciated that someone listened and responded. But go ahead. I interrupted you.
We had the broad match modified. It was getting great traffic, low cost per click, showing up on a lot of different keywords. And then Jay Kendrick just killed our momentum with this expensive, low volume, exact match keyword. Google is telling us we could be showing up on more traffic. We're losing data due to rank. But Jay Kendrick, you put exact match brackets on there just like we asked for. That's incredible.
Now
we got to see the phrase match. So Chris, let's read this review from Jay Kendrick. 5 stars. That's the only kind of reviews we'll accept and read.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the only one. We won't read it if it's 1.
And by the way, who's leaving a 4? Okay. No. I can't stand 4s. Okay. So yes. Oh, no, I can't say that. He says the Y word twice. And then he says, you read that title right, folks. His title is Best AdWords Podcast Exact Match. This is by far the best and most valuable paid search podcast. We own that name on iTunes. Chris and Jason really know what they're talking about and have definitely helped me organize my AdWords campaigns. That's great. The tips about advertising to people outside your usual radius with a different campaign have already paid off.
Hey,
great one, Chris. You came up with there on Sweetums. Plano, Dallas. A lot of fun we had, Chris. Mm-hmm. And that's just one of the many pieces of advice they've given throughout the podcast that has put money directly into my pocket as a small business owner. Hey, Jay, what about our pockets, bro? Yeah. Listening to this podcast will help you organize your ads and stretch your money further.
Hey,
you should definitely do it. Thank you, Chris and Jason, for what you are doing. Keep up the awesome work. Same to you, Jay Kendrick. Thank you very much for the review. And Chris, by the way, on these reviews, a lot of small business owners, a lot of AdWords managers who just manage one account, love to know what kind of business you run.
Yeah.
In your review. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Great stuff. Thanks for the review. I thought it was great that we talked about the modified broad match review, and now we have an exact match review. I don't know. Maybe they don't let you put quotes on a review headline title. Maybe that's like an error.
Well, then write out the word quotes.
Quotes on either end. But all right. Well, that's great. So guys, if you have sent a question to us in the past, like 2 months or so, we did not delete your email and ignore it. We have been storing these up, and we're gonna kill all these questions in one fell swoop in one amazing episode we're calling
the Q&A.
The Q&A. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I was.
All right, and by the way, everybody, Chris is the client guy. I'm the technical guy. Chris is, he reads these emails and he forwards them to me. Jason, we got to respond tonight. And I'm like, Chris, relax. We do Q&A episodes. And so Chris loves these Q&As. I love them too, but Chris really loves them. And so everybody, it's hard for me to do. Buckle up. Chris is taking over the driver's seat. We stopped at the gas station and got a drink and fueled up. I'm taking off. He's getting in the driver's seat. Buckle up. Dad is driving. Are we there yet, Dad?
Wow.
Here we go. Chris, take the reins.
Okay. Wow. I didn't realize that it was going to be that different. But yeah, welcome to the Chris Paychurch podcast, I guess. But anyway, we're going to run through these because we have a lot, and these are all really good questions. So Number 1, Dan from Manchester, England, all the way across the pond. Thank you for your message. He is a sales guy working at Response Tap, which is a place in England, a company in England. So he's listened to us a lot, and specifically in episode 75, he was asking about using call tracking in order to manage the quality of your traffic. And basically his question is, what are your thoughts on call tracking software, which provides real-time data on the quality of your traffic, and enabling customers to better manage their keywords and their budget to optimize inbound calls? So basically what he wants to know is what are our thoughts on it? And I think we've discussed this before, but I want to lay it out as simply as I can. And Jason, if you want to share your 2 cents here, please do. But my thoughts are the paid call systems are cheap. When it comes down to it, I have quite a few clients that are on them. I don't pay the bill; they pay the bill, but I see the receipts come through. And even my high call volume people that pay for call tracking systems, and I'm not going to name any of them because nobody's paying me to name them, so I'm not going to do it. But
CallRail, call tracking metrics.
Stop it. We could have made some money there. Come on. Business minded, Jason. Okay. So anyway, those 2 unnamed call tracking systems, they're cheap. I mean, they're both cheap. A lot of those, they offer really great stuff at a cheap price. The free Google tracking is wonderful. It's built in. It's really just press and play, and it works. But plug and play, I think, is the phrase. But I think it's great to use the free one, but I really like the paid because the fact that you can control the number and you can listen to the recording. So that's what I think about them, and I think you can do without it. But I certainly, if you're a business owner and you want to measure the quality of the leads coming in, there's really no better way to do it if you consider phone calls to be your most important asset.
Chris, got some thoughts. I think you'll respect these a lot. Number 1, CallRail. That's my go-to. Love it. I honestly that's my favorite. That's the only one I interact with. I love it, dude. Their interface. I see the other ones out there. I've just never seen anything like CallRail. So I like CallRail, and they also answer my questions on Twitter, which I appreciate. But here's where I'm going to break it down, Chris. In terms of AdWords performance, if all you're concerned about is AdWords performance, AdWords call tracking, free tracking gets it done. And here's the reason why, Chris. You can control the length a call has to reach before it becomes a conversion. So a 60-second default length, maybe that doesn't tell you if you actually sign someone up as a sale. Maybe that needs to be 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, depends on your business. But you can get all the conversion data you need to make a great AdWords account from the free tracking in AdWords just by controlling the length of the conversion. if you want to take it one step further and get better at your business, that's where I think the third-party systems like CallRail come into play, because you can listen to calls, you can listen to how your employees handle calls, you can hear what customers are talking about, and it helps improve your intake. And that's a different thing than AdWords. So if you're just concerned with AdWords, I'd say go with the free software or the free code in AdWords, the free conversion tracking, and really focus on the length of the call. If you're more concerned about business things and improving your business, which we all should be, then there's room for those very inexpensive and affordable but high quality third-party tracking systems like CallRail.
Excellent answer, Jason. I think that's a very good point. There's a definite difference between monitoring before the click and after the lead. So great stuff. All right, so next one, I'm going to read it, and Jason, I'm going to let you take this one because I really like this question. We just recently talked about this separately outside the podcast, but from Kiel, Kiel, Kiel. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I'm going to say it. When would you ever advise using regular broad match keywords? And I'll tell you, up until probably about 24 hours ago, I would have said, I really don't. But we had a discussion, Jason and I and Walt, who's been on the show before. You know, we like to get together and talk. And Jason, talk to him about what we discussed and how I think we agree now.
Yeah.
What we think about our straight broad match keywords.
Yeah. Same answer as always. Never, ever use them. And I've never seen them work ever. Next question.
Jason, you're so funny. Right. Now tell the truth.
No, that is the attitude.
Spill your guts. Spill your guts, because we're about to share something that
I know.
I mean, this is an interesting.
No, this was groundbreaking. For some AdWords nerds like us. That was my attitude up until about 48 hours ago, 24 hours ago. But Chris, I had seen an account that I'm a part of start using broad match keywords. And I was like, what is my team member doing? Like, have they lost their mind? Do I need to say, you're fired? Like, why would you put in a broad match keyword? That obviously we never do this. But here's the problem, or the thing that happened. We were having volume issues in this account. We were not spending the full budget. And I instructed my team member, I was like, hey, get creative. You know what you're doing. If the main problem on this account is we're not spending the full budget. So they took it within themselves to come up with the idea, hey, we need more volume. How do we find out what more keywords to target are? How do we get more volume off the bat? How do we get more low cost clicks? Broad match. And they added it. And Chris, we've gotten a lot of data on it. This is for a moving company. It's working. The cost per conversion is better than the account overall. It's bringing in 20% of the conversions. It's one broad match keyword.
That's crazy.
You look at the search terms report, which you and I always preach. And if you just look at the search terms report, you would be so biased against this because some of those search terms are bad.
Yeah.
But overall, the cost per conversion is there. The client is getting more conversions than they've ever gotten. And it shook me to my core, Chris. I was horrified when I heard the news. But I, just like we always preach, we let the data do the talking. And my stance on broad match keywords has changed in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, you just heard it. Jason saying that his pure broad match keyword, which you could go back and you could replay us saying the exact opposite, that there's really no place in AdWords for just broad match because it's just uncontrollable. But in certain times when you need volume and you have a controlled test, just to be clear, we don't get quoted on some blog somewhere saying these guys don't know what they're talking about. We're talking about broad match in a controlled environment. You don't just throw a $20 bid at a broad match and just let it go. We're talking about a controlled environment where you can make sure that it doesn't blow your budget out in 30 minutes. It works. It has worked, and it's working for Jason. And I'll tell you, it's something that I plan on working into some of my accounts as well. So.
Let me give 2 tips to Keel and everybody listening on broad match keywords. We found, and a lot of people out there know this, Chris, the longer the keyword phrase is, the more words there are in a broad match keyword, the more you're protecting yourself, and the more you're kind of instructing Google to, hey, kind of this is what we want to get. So example of this, if you're running a campaign in New York City for movers, don't just put in broad match moving companies off the bat, just 2 words. Maybe try best New York City moving companies or best moving companies in my area. The more words you're using in a keyword phrase, broad match, the more data you're giving Google, the better your broad match traffic is likely to be. That said, still you can still test out the short phrases, but that's just one thing we've seen. The other thing is don't get comfortable. Broad match can change over time, Chris. Individual broad match keywords. You might go along spending, say, $1,000 a month on one broad match keyword, for an example. And then 18 months into it, Google might start allowing that broad match keyword to show up on different searches, and you go to $5,000 a month, and it eats up a huge percent of your budget. So just be careful. Be very careful when dealing with broad match. But I think we've both changed our opinion in the last 24 hours to it's worth testing out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So next we're going to go with Nick. Nick says he's been listening to the show for a few weeks and speeding through the episodes, and he's been wondering something. He's asking about keywords and quality score. Is it better to have 100 keywords in a campaign over a few ad groups with varying quality scores, or to have 50 great keywords with high quality scores? So basically he's wondering, it's not necessarily the volume of keywords that he's worried about. Is it really important to make sure every one of your keywords is the best quality score that it can be? And I'm going to jump on a limb here because, as always, Jason and I don't prep our answers for this. That's why
zero prep.
Yeah, because I think this is why it's genuine.
That's what makes the show great.
Yeah, it's genuine. I'm going to give my genuine answer, and we'll see what Jason agrees or disagrees. But I've become less concerned about quality score on some of my clients and some of my accounts. A 4, a 3. I hate to see that something says low quality score on it, but I've seen way too many keywords that generate qualified traffic and conversions, and for them not to have a good quality score. So I'd say if you have 100 keywords that work well and some of them are kind of crappy quality score, who cares? If it's generating what you want, if it's the quality traffic that you want, and it has conversions, it's working well, quality score is really secondary. Don't get hung up on it.
Chris, I'm going to go out on a further limb and ask you, you've become less concerned with quality score, or are you just not concerned with it at all?
Less.
Because when's the last time you changed a landing page to try to help the quality score boost?
Never. I've never done that.
When's the last time, or how many seconds has it been since you've looked at a quality score that says a 7 and says the ad could be more relevant? And then you look at the ad and it's on point. And you're like, how could I make this more relevant to get it higher than a 7? And you just don't care anymore. How many seconds ago did that happen? That happens every day for me. So
instantly.
I've become very quality score agnostic. I don't really focus on it. And Chris, this is a limb, and this limb, as the more I talk, is feeling smaller and smaller because I'm getting nervous here. I'm sweating because when I talk to new clients, when I'm trying to sell them on my services, one of the number one things I get asked about is, what are you going to do different at Rothman PPC than all these other people to get my quality scores up? That's one of the number one questions I get. So many people sell on quality scores, but I'm honest with them. Like, hey, honestly, what do you care more about, a 6 versus an 8, or signing up a long distance move for $15,000 tomorrow? And I tell them, I just focus on search terms and leads. I get you good quality leads. I grow your business. And Chris, there's just been so many times when I see a 7 and I go, why is that not a 9? What can I possibly? And then there's so many times when I see a 3 and I'm like, well, this has a great cost per conversion. Who cares if it's a 3,
Yeah.
And I think part of it is our landing pages, our ad relevance, our structure. It's already pretty much as good as it can be when we're managing an account. Now, if you're in a brand new account and you don't really know what you're doing with AdWords, do pay attention to those quality scores. But if you're like us and what you're doing is right, just focus on the leads. Now, that said, Chris, to Nick, the quality scores in there, the keywords with super low quality scores that you're not even getting any traffic on anyway, definitely delete those, because there's no reason to keep keywords that aren't doing anything for you, that are weighing down your overall quality score. So if they're not doing anything for you, pause them. But if they are doing good for you and you think you're giving relevant ads and relevant landing pages, fire away and keep targeting them if the CPA is good.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. All right. So we've got Danny, who just started listening to the podcast. He loves the podcast, and he has a couple questions regarding PPC management. He works at an agency. So, Danny, first of all, I feel your pain. I'm sorry to hear that.
Such a hater, dude. Your bro has an agency, Chris. Do you just talk behind me or behind my back all the week? Like, dude, Jason is such a scammy guy.
No, in my head, I imagine Danny in a small cube grinding away at 100 campaign or 100 accounts,
150 this month.
Exhausted.
We got an email from someone who was like, just started working at an agency, just started doing AdWords. They gave me 100 accounts. It was like literally 100. I was like, oh man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, sorry. I'm sure your company's great, but in my head, I imagine agency company just it's like a machine. They just grind out all this stuff.
There's definitely good and bad.
And there's a reason why, because in his email, he says,
I'm reading it now.
He said, he says he has 32 accounts. So he obviously doesn't have 100, but basically he said the trouble that he runs into, he runs into the trouble of this, updating ad copy on a monthly basis. And here's the problem. Either our clients write the copy or we are allowed to write the copy ourselves and then send over the ad copy to them for approval. And I'll tell you, the problem, Danny, is that you are letting your clients decide what's best for your AdWords ad copy. Okay. This is, if I get a client that says we want all AdWords approval, ad copy approval to be run by us first, I say, oh, that's great. Let me send you to somebody else, because you're paying me as the AdWords manager, the expert in this, to decide everything except for the one thing that people see on their screen when they search. You want that decision because you want to put your company name in the headline, or you want to put something like call now for great prices. I mean, it's like something that's just kind of bland and yucky call to action stuff. Nothing creative at all, but your lawyers love it. Your lawyers think it looks great. Danny, do your boss a favor and sit down with him and say, listen, boss man, we're not helping our clients by letting them decide what to do. Let's decide what to do ourselves, and we will deliver better results to more of our clients and maybe retain our clients longer. That's my thoughts.
Right. I agree, Chris. Now, the problem is, what if they just say, no, you're going to write the ad copy we want? This is tough. I would just say, in terms of speed, the less ad groups you have, the more ads you're going to be able to get in there quicker and test out. So that's one thing. But Chris, I feel their pain on this. Is not the way to run an AdWords campaign, because the first major one I worked on, the client wanted their brand name on every single ad in the headline, first thing. And you know how that goes. So you can, that's not the way to run things. And I would say just make your case, and maybe even you could call Google and the 1-800 number and get their help on making the case on, hey, this is some Google documentation that says this is what works in ads. Let us test that. And by the way, here's the thing. Let them try to get them to test it and prove to them with click-through rates. This is your ad. This is the ad we wanted to run. A/B test it, and maybe that'll help you make your case.
I have one other thing to add before we move on to the next one. Danny, whenever you are trying to write ad copy, it can be very overwhelming to a client when they see a spreadsheet with 50 different ads, and they're basically 2 or 3 of the same ads copied over in slightly different variations. My suggestion is send them a Word document with like
screenshots,
2 or 3, or maybe screenshots.
Yeah.
If there's duplicates of the ad, don't create a bunch of different slight variations. Just send them a kind of a template with with something that shows this is the dynamic keyword part that's going to change out for, put X on this part, and it says this word will be replaced by the relevant keyword.
Or like this is the core saying we want to test out this month, and use it in a bunch of different ways. But do you approve it or do you not approve it?
Get the template approved. Don't get each individual ad approved, because that's overwhelming for them to look at 50 ads and get that approved.
And him to prepare.
Yeah, and to prepare a lot of extra work. So, All right. So next we're going to go with Mitchell. Mitchell has a comment about e-commerce campaign structure. And he says he's looking forward to the series that we just did, which was about the how to build an AdWords campaign. And which, if you haven't heard that, go back and listen. Solid stuff there. We're probably going to do some more of that in the future. He says he's gone through the multi-campaign structure before. He thinks it depends on industry. You're right, it does. So his question is, would you still use the single campaign structure for an e-commerce site with hundreds of products that span several product categories? And the answer is absolutely do not use a single campaign structure for something that does not match the core structure of what campaigns are designed for. If you have multiple categories and hundreds of products, that does not fit into the idea of one campaign. You should have multiple campaigns split out based on geography, based on spend, based on a lot of factors. So yeah, the example we gave with the dentist was absolutely a dentist example.
Service, yeah. Service.
It's a small service local company. We're going to do more of that because we want to explain how it works for different types of industries. But to answer your question directly, absolutely should not use a single campaign.
And to Mitchell, Chris, I would say always have the furniture example in mind in terms of campaign and ad group structure. To me, that's always the easiest thing to remember. You have one campaign for sofas, and then within sofas, you have leather sofas, cloth sofas, and then all the different types of sofas, love seats, whatever. And then you have your bed frames. You have wood bed frames as an ad group, metal bed frames as an ad group, and on and on and on. But you definitely, I would have almost like one product type as a campaign, and then within those product types, you have the tens or hundreds of different categories, or tens of categories as ad groups. So campaign is the individual product type. Under that would be the different ad groups, the different types of that product. And then within those ad groups, the keywords. Sports equipment, Chris, you could have baseball bats as one campaign, aluminum, wood as ad groups, gloves as one campaign, kids gloves, adult gloves, leather, whatever is different ad groups, but definitely not one campaign. But if you're worried about budget, a tip for them, Chris, shared budget across different all campaigns or just some of the campaigns, but a shared budget allows you to not worry about the budget issue and still break things out into their own campaigns.
All right. Good stuff.
Hey, Chris, question. Is this how easy your job is every week? What I'm doing today? Like I'm just sitting here and just going when it's my turn to go on the stuff that I'm an expert on. Is this all you have to do every week?
This is what it's like when you're hosting. I'll tell you, it's a whole lot more work when I have to think about, okay, what am I going to say next?
Man, Chris, I would love for you to. I mean, this is the easiest thing I've done in my life. Go ahead, boss.
Right. Well, yeah, lean back. Yeah, take your time, Jason. All right, I'll just spit out the next one. Next one from Aaron, who has a question about Google Places and Google. Are you literally going to just leave? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to let you go.
Yeah, just take a break. That's fine. You go ahead. Go ahead. The question.
No, I should say that's professional. I should say.
Yeah, right. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So the question she has is about she has a company that's handling their AdWords account, and she has an SEM campaign, but she wants to make sure that she has paid ads in the Places section, which I think what she means is the Google Maps. Google Places, Google Maps, Google Local, I think is what she's referring to. She's been researching this as to how her business can utilize the feature. And she says, is this something I can do on my own? Because the company that she's working with says they can't do the Google Places. And the easy answer on this, I mean, this is a straightforward one. First of all, if you're a local company that has people, if you're a dentist or some kind of local service company, local product, something, a bakery or something, you should absolutely have your Places, your Google My Business is the official name for it. Look that up if you're not familiar with it. But Google My Business, you should absolutely have your business listed with Google My Business. And it's absolutely something you can do apart from the agency that's managing your campaign. Set it up, and then you can simply invite them to be a manager on the account, and they can, if they're worth their salt, they can link your ad. They have nothing to do except link your AdWords campaign with your Google My Business. If they say no to that, call Jason. because he can
or
help
Chris,
you.
call God.
Yeah, call Jason.
Chris, why can't you just say chrisschaefer.com sometimes, bro?
Well, you know,
A little Chris, they should call you too.
okay, call me.
chrisschaefer.com.
Call me, sure, I guess. But
Spell
anyway,
it out.
they should. I should put it behind me so they can see it. YouTube can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you saying about
right.
coming to you from Afghanistan?
Jason's in a jail cell right now in his white walls. Come on.
Just paying off my debts. Just 30 years of AdWords management for this agency.
Leave a comment if you think
help
Jason
me
should put something on his wall. Good golly. Come on. Yep. All right. So Jason, you got anything to add there?
Oh yeah. I'm honestly, we were just laughing about how you were the agency basher, but I'm shocked and appalled. Like I'm honestly shocked that an agency said they can't, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Like here's what you got to remember. You have Google My Business. That's on the business owner. That's fair. Set up Google My Business. Add your AdWords manager as a manager on that Google My Business. At that point, all the AdWords manager has to do is go into the AdWords campaign, go to the account, go to the location extension, and link it to Google My Business. Location extension. That's all they have to do once they're a manager on Google My Business. So that's how you get your ads to show in the map and on the local listings.
It'll work. There's nothing else to do. There's no extra steps. And if they try and charge you for it, throw a fit. Absolutely. I mean, this is why I end up getting mad at agencies, because they do this stuff. They lie to people, like little old Erin. Erin's just trying to do some good in the world, and she's going to get charged for putting Google My Business on her AdWords. That's just sad. So thanks for the question.
Before you just burn every bridge. Next question, bro.
All right. So we got a question from Kevin Scott. This one's from YouTube. So he's a YouTube watcher.
We're on YouTube?
Yeah, we are. Say hi.
Okay. Yeah. We're on YouTube every week, guys. If you want to watch the show, subscribe on YouTube.
All right. So he doesn't fully understand. This one's a complicated one. We might get hung up with this. Let's try and do this one as quickly as we can. But doesn't fully understand how Google decides to show the ad when a person's out of the targeted location. What are the factors Google is using to decide if someone outside the area is searching for X service? And the example he uses is Memphis lawyers.
Memphis divorce lawyer.
So, Jason, you want to take this one? There's a lot to this one, but we'll try and keep it as simple as possible.
So you've got your advanced location settings on the settings page. Advanced location settings. And then the default there is to target people in your area, which would probably be Memphis, or people in and or searching about your product or service or location. And so that the default is to target people in your location and people who are searching about your product and location. And so what that leaves you open to is a little something I like to call the rest of the world. So if someone is in Iraq, or maybe that's not the best use because there are Americans there. If someone is in Mongolia and they search Memphis divorce lawyer, technically your ad could show up in Mongolia.
Absolutely.
Now, it's not a huge issue because most of the time, if someone's searching for a Memphis divorce lawyer, they're either around the state of Tennessee. Maybe they broke up and they moved back. What people do when they get divorced, the men, they move to Florida. Right. So most likely the search came from Florida if it's about a divorce lawyer.
Gosh, burning bridges much.
Just kidding. So anyway, but yeah, so it's the Mongolia thing is an extreme example, but most of that traffic is going to be coming from relevant places like Michigan, Oklahoma, Texas, whatever, people looking for a Memphis divorce lawyer. And here's the deal. Should you want to be showing up there when someone is from a different state searching for a Memphis divorce lawyer? There's pros and cons, and that's just something you're going to have to decide yourself. It's not the worst thing. But if you want to lock it down and only show up when people are actually in the area you're targeting, you change the advanced location setting to people in your location. Now, how does Google decide whether to show it if you are on the default setting, Chris? I don't really know.
I can actually answer that one. Yeah, that one is dependent upon the way that they're searching. So a lot of people do, 2, 3, 4 different searches, and they're if they are searching within a certain way, they mentioned Memphis. And they're doing different, a series of searches, and Google's saying it looks like that they're looking for something in Memphis. It looks like they're searching in the Memphis area. They might show the ad that way. Another way is IP address. They're going to use the location of the person's IP address, which is just the most basic flat way of seeing where a person is. And then there's a third, but it's completely left me.
Is it like when someone's on a page about Memphis and then later that day they search divorce lawyer? Maybe.
Yeah. There's something a bit more layered than that, but it's that's the kind of idea. So there's a lot of ways that people can get matched like that, and it's when it comes down to it, I think Jason had the best answer. You have to decide, is it worth it to show it outside your area? And if it's not, make that change in the advanced location.
And here's the deal, Chris, you can go to your location data, and if you're targeting the Memphis area, you'll see data for Memphis. But then if you leave it on to showing up in other locations when people are searching about Memphis, the default, you might see Chicago in there. You might see California. You might see Seattle, and just see how that conversion data does. And you can judge things that way.
Yeah. All right. So next we have Ari, and this one's pretty straightforward. Have you ever dealt with an account suspension? In this case, a brand new account before even launching, and it was suspended due to misleading policy or something.
He's claiming legit, Chris.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a legit business? Not testosterone cream.
Yeah.
But something like a mover or plumber.
I'm going to give, no, stuff like mover and plumber and stuff like that. No, but Ari, the problem is you're probably bordering on something about medical or some type of
financial product, like they've gotten rid of payday loans.
Yeah, something that's bordering that area, and you're using words on your landing page. If this is a brand new campaign, it's going to be due to what's on your landing page. So you probably already built the ads. You link to something. The Google bot goes out and checks things. Something got red flagged. You're going to get suspended. So it has to do with your landing page, and call Google is the easiest way. There's no strings. Yeah. Do not believe anyone if they say, I have special pull and I can get your ads approved. I can get your website approved. That is absolutely not true. There's only one source, and that's Google, to get account suspensions handled. And it does happen with legit businesses, but they're usually bordering on something. And I should say one last thing, just because there's competitors out there, does not mean that you have a right to be able to advertise as well. You never know. Those people are, might have brand new ads, or maybe they just haven't.
Maybe they have 10-year-old ads, and the Google system hasn't caught that they're still advertising on an industry they don't like anymore.
All kinds of reasons why other people could be advertising. You never know. So
I think our best answer is you never know. And the only thing you can do, call the number, talk to Google, and get their input.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay,
Chris, you need a break, or is this too hard for you?
You want to take the next one? Yeah, I'll take a water break.
Not today. No.
Oh, not today. Thank you for the offer. That's so nice of you. Okay, Nick. All right, let's take a breath.
These were a lot of questions.
They were. They are a lot of questions.
One of us said, hey, it's a lot of questions. Maybe we should just leave what we don't get to and do it on another Q&A, because we're hungry for content and we need to plan out episodes. But then one of us said, no, I got to do it today. Dad's got to do it today.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, it was my idea to break it up into 2 episodes, but no, we're going to push through because Jason wants it now and he wants all of it. So Nick, all right, Nick, hi, Jason and Chris. I wanted to say hello. Thank you for the podcast. He's been listening a lot. He loves what we do. And he said he looks forward every Monday to his Monday morning fix. So hello, Nick, happy Monday. We're talking straight to you about your question here. So he has an issue with duplicate keywords and weeding out the ones that aren't making you money. And he goes into a lot of different things about, specifics about his situation. And basically, Nick, here's my thoughts on duplicate keywords. Duplicate keywords clutter and confuse your campaign when it comes down to it. But in reality, the only real damage they do is the fact that some will show for some searches and others won't, and vice versa. It'll go back and forth. So you may have a lot of confusion in this one ad group has really good conversion, and this one doesn't, but they have the same type of keywords. And the fact is, it will pull one way or the other for a wide variety of reasons. In the black box of Google Match,
the best ad rank, right?
Yeah, whatever has the best ad rank. But sometimes ad rank is always a factor in relation to your search query. So some might match a search query better.
Ad rank changes. I mean, there's
we
don't know. Who knows how many factors there are on any individual search?
We know of some, but there's a black box of reasons. So the fact is, it doesn't hurt your campaign, but it can make it more difficult for optimization. And it sounds like if you're dealing with duplicate keywords, the problem you're really having here is a complication of, I should say, an overcomplication of your AdWords account itself.
The structure.
Yeah, it's not
this keyword versus that keyword. It's why should these two keywords be in different ad groups?
If you have a keyword that matches this one thing, why would you have another one that matches that same kind of thing? So I'd say focus less on your duplicate keywords and get more onto the structure of your account and get to the core of what that all is.
Give an example, Chris. Like if he has baby taggy as a broad match modified word versus baby taggy blanket, and say the structure is fine, say they're the same ad group. Do you have any problem with having keywords that could both trigger the same search in an ad group? Because traditionally I don't. Like I'm okay if keywords are pretty close and I've just happened to add them into the same ad group.
Same ad group? No, I don't really have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a problem
because they could. The fact is, the keyword isn't what I'm worried about. It's the ad that goes with it. If they could essentially both trigger the same ad. So the same effect happens. It's just attributed to one keyword or another keyword.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm the king of putting exact and phrase match and broad match modifier in the same ad group.
I see these campaigns that are like, broad, phrase, and exact for every match type, and you have 64 different ad groups and they're all labeled broad, phrase, and exact. Like, what in the world? What's the purpose of that? That's ridiculous. But anyway, that's it, Nick. I would go. I think this is a structure issue and less of a duplicate keyword thing. So that's it. You got anything else? Are we ready to move on?
Brother, I got a call. Like, let's go turbo mode here, Chris. Oh, screw this. I'm taking over. Okay. Davey asked about multiple domains. Thank you for your question, Davey. Can I use more than one domain in an AdWords campaign? Something like links to my homepage, and then another one jumps to another page like on Blogger or Weebly. Davey, go to that mirror. Look yourself in the mirror. What are you using Blogger and Weebly for? No, just kidding.
Jason, you can't. Okay,
all right, so Davey, the answer to this, and Chris, you'll get the next one, is campaigns can only have one. Chris, check me on this. Ad groups can only have one URL, one domain.
There you go. Finally said it.
It can link, only one domain. It can't even link to different pages on the same domain. One actual domain per ad group, right?
Correct.
And then Chris, I'm a little fuzzy on this. Different ad groups, totally different domains.
Yes, you can have completely different domains.
Two different domains in the same campaign.
In the same campaign, yes, you can.
Just something I haven't run into.
It's just you cannot have a different domain in the same ad group, but you could have xyz.com and abc.net in two separate ad groups. Nothing wrong with that. I've done that before. I've had a client that has their own web page, but then they also link to amazon.com on a different one. So, they want this product going here and this other one they want to go
to. But not the same ad group. Same ad group, you will get disapproved. Yep.
Absolutely.
And by the way, it's Davey, even if those old ads are paused and the system sees a different URL in the same ad group, it'll disapprove the new ads. You got to totally delete them if it's different. Yep. Next question, Chris. Randy, love that name, by the way. Love the name Randy. Might name one of my kids Randy. Love your name, Randy. They ask, it's very gender confusing here. Is Randy a guy or girl? We don't know. So I'm just going to say they. Asked a question about device bit adjustments. We don't really talk about this much, Chris.
I think you're reading the question wrong.
Oh, sorry. I'm rusty.
He's scanning the question and reading it and trying to talk at the same time. Okay, basically,
take back over, boss.
he wants. So, what my question to you guys is it an effective way to bid?
Rachel, edit that out. Edit my mistakes out, please.
Right. Oh.
And if it's funny, leave this request in. But definitely edit my mistake out. Go ahead, Chris.
I hear you guys constantly talk about bid adjustments on the keyword level, and I feel like it would make a significant difference if I were to change the bidding to manual. And he wants to know, like, what's the best method? What's the best method? And the fact is, he's new to AdWords.
Oh,
and he wants some help, so he's worried about this. And I'll tell you, Randy, if you're new to AdWords, I would say hold off on doing manual until you're a bit more comfortable. Because I would, if I were to give a manual a label, I'd say it's more of an advanced feature, because you can really mess some things up and really be confused. But if you feel comfortable enough to try it, maybe you try it in a separate campaign. Maybe you try it, test it for like a week or something, and then put it back and see how it goes. But basically, manual bidding is good because of this one thing. Manual bidding is good because as humans, we can make better decisions about the quality of traffic of our coming from AdWords, more so than Google is. Google is like we had from our guest from a couple episodes ago. Google is no respecter of keywords, and if you give Google free reign on a wide variety of keywords without any scope on what's more important to you, then Google will choose what it wants. So manual bidding is a way to assign value to ad groups and keywords that are most important to you.
Chris, you are, I think someone's a little bit triggered about machine learning there. I mean, you didn't say maybe they're better sometimes, maybe they're not better. I mean, you just said straight out, every human's better than every machine learning platform.
I'm a bit biased, but bring it back down a tad for me, Jason.
Dad partying like it's 1999 over here. I would say at least to start, Chris, automatic bidding. The help, he wants help. The help is there.
Yeah.
To start off, and then I would say, like you said, try out manual after you get a feel with automatic bidding, and maybe you're happy with automatic.
Yeah. All right. So next we've got, and guys, we have, if you're hoping for a light at the end of the tunnel because you're like, man, I'm at work. Should I sit in the car any longer?
Should you do your job or keep listening to the podcast? Keep listening.
Keep listening because you have 2 more questions. 2 more. All right. Shane, this is an easy one from Shane asking about old episodes. He wants to know about episodes 1 through 7. He wants to know about all the old stuff, and right now at this point, as of December, mid-December, the best answer that we can say is you go to our website, paidsearchpodcast.com. We have all of our episodes there. That's the only way to get all of our episodes. iTunes cuts them off after a certain amount, and you can't get the old ones, but you can stream everything on our website on the little player right on the homepage. Just scroll to the very bottom and you'll see it. And you can play those oldies but goodies.
Yeah, and by the way, that is we're talking about the player on the homepage. I think what he did, Chris, is he went to the episodes page where we do have every episode except for those first 7 because I never got them posted.
That's okay. Before we started doing the blog stuff. Okay, so there you go. Good answer. Yeah,
not the
good answer. That's what it is. So yeah, go to the homepage, not the episode page.
Profit sharing.
Yeah. So
Chris, get me to this next question. I'm jumping ahead here.
I see this last one. Eddie, I love this because this is the kind of thing that from 2 guys that do AdWords management for a living, this is the kind of thing I thought would be fun to close out on.
Maybe I'm seeing some stuff I'm uncomfortable with in here, Chris.
So here's what basically Eddie says is he's been listening to the podcast. He's been binging Netflix style to every episode to date. Love your delivery and format of the show. I'm impressed how you make it relevant for newbies and experienced PPC pros alike. Thank you very much. We appreciate the love.
Because we both do it, Chris.
Yes.
I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate
it.
Thanks for the compliment.
Well, when you host, you end up personalizing it.
You ain't got to tell me.
Yeah. So he's been approached by a client, and the guy is basically saying that they're only going to deliver results once they increase their online sales by 25% before they're willing to pay a management fee. And he's nervous about this because he's going to get paid for his performance by his improvement of where they currently at. Essentially, this is a client offering profit sharing. They're offering to give him a percentage of what he brings in. And I'll tell you what, to this day, I have never accepted a profit sharing. It's not something that I am comfortable with. My services are based on my skill level. And if your product sucks and nobody's buying it, that's not my fault. I'll do the best I can to deliver the best quality that I can. But as an AdWords manager, I'm not going to take responsibility whenever your product doesn't sell and I not get paid for my work. So that's my thought.
I agree, Chris. E-commerce maybe is a little different because it's just about pushing buttons on a page and buying stuff. But like, if I'm going to get paid based on their revenue growth and not my service building and managing the AdWords account, what happens if I get a great keyword at a great cost per click and it leads to a call, and then Sally in intake is having a bad day and curses out the customer or answers the phone call as what? And the customer's turned off and doesn't sign up and become a move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's just so much out of your control. Or what if the business has bad phone lines and they're down during storms and they're fuzzy and they don't close the call? So I think that's insane. I also think that there's enough clients out there in this service that Eddie, I mean, it's your choice. But if it was me and someone was coming to me, I would say I'm not interested, and I charge what I charge for my services, and on to the next one. But it's up to you, and maybe e-commerce is different, but that's just my 2 cents from a service guy who's extremely successful. So take it or leave it, but I am extremely successful by following advice like this.
Value yourself and value what you do. If you think you do a good job at it, there's no reason why you have to prove it and only get paid for your results. I mean, that's a crappy way of doing things. Yeah. And I don't think as a professional that's providing a service, there's really no reason that you'd have to stoop to the level of, some other person. I'm not going to pay you until you dig this ditch well enough. And
it's not about being scared of your work being quality enough to produce results. It's about so much being out of your control.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chris, that's the end of the show.
Super long episode. Thanks for sticking around.
Last week, I declined to do an outro. I said I was done, and now the ball's in your court because it does suck doing an outro after a long show hosting. So feel free to just end it right here.
Okay. Well, I am not a millennial. I'm a Gen X, so I have plenty of energy, and I will do an
you're
outro.
Popped up on pharmaceuticals and on fake testosterone because you're 60 and you think you want to still live like you're 20. Go ahead, Dad. How's that testosterone gonna? This is an unproven. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for adding another 2 minutes. Thanks for listening, guys. PaidSearchPodcast.com. You can always catch Jason and I on Facebook, on our Twitter account, and be sure and go to our website and send in questions because we do answer questions. We always appreciate reviews because that's what helps us get more people listening when they see that this is a trustworthy source. So, of course, we're both AdWords managers for hire. RothmanPPC.com, ChrisSchaefer.com. Go there if you want to hire us. That's about as much promotion as you're going to get from me. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.